Hello students, I'm Vipul Matul. In this session, I will discuss a multiple choice question on comparative financial statements. In the context of comparative financial statements, if the prior period financial statements were audited by a predecessor auditor and the predecessor auditor's report on the prior period's financial statements is not reissued, the auditor should do what? You have four answer options. Here we are talking about comparative financial statements, and the prior period financial statements were audited by a predecessor auditor. But the predecessor auditor's report on prior period financial statements is not reissued, what you have to do? So, for example, you are the auditor and you are auditing year 7 financial statements and year 6 financial statements, prior period financial statements were not audited by you, but were audited by X. So, X audited year 6 financial statements. X is predecessor auditor. You are auditing year 7 financial statements. Now, year 6 financial statements are comparative financial statements. These are presented along with the year 7 financial statements for comparison purposes. Year 6 financial statements were audited by the predecessor auditor, but the predecessor auditor's report, X audit report on year 6 financial statements is not reissued. Now, when year 6 financial statements and year 7 financial statements are presented for comparison purposes, X is asked to reissue his report on year 6 financial statements. But X, who is the predecessor auditor, has to perform certain procedures to determine whether his report on year 6 financial statement is still appropriate or not. Can it be reissued or not? So X has to be reasonably sure that his report on year 6 financial statement is still appropriate. So now X has to perform procedures to make sure that year 6 auditor's report is still appropriate. Now, X may decide not to reissue his report on year 6 financial statements. So X may decide not to reissue the auditor's report for year 6. Why? Because X considers that the report on year 6 financial statement is not appropriate, or X has to perform certain procedures to be reasonably sure that report is still appropriate, but X does not perform those procedures, or X is unable to perform those procedures, or for any other reason, X decides not to reissue the report. So X decides not to reissue the report for year 6 financial statements. Now, what you would do? That's the question. In the context of comparative financial statements, if the prior period financial statements were audited by a predecessor auditor and the predecessor auditor's report on the prior period financial statements is not reissued, what the auditor would do? So what you would do? Would you express an adverse opinion on current period financial statements? That does not make any sense. Because we are talking about the report on prior period financial statements. In this example, we are talking about year 6 financial statements, report on year 6 financial statements. There is no reason for you to express an adverse opinion on year 7 financial statements. This is not correct. You would not do that. You would not express an adverse opinion on your year 7 financial statements. Answer option B. Do not express an opinion on the current period financial statements. Why you would do that? You would express an opinion on current period financial statements. Just because predecessor auditor is not reissuing his report on year 6 financial statement does not mean that you also do not express an opinion on year 7 financial statements. No, this is not the answer. This is not something that you do. Express an opinion on the current period financial statements. Yes, you would do that. Express an opinion on the current period financial statements and include an other matter paragraph. Include an other matter paragraph. This is the answer. So you express an opinion on current period financial statements and include an other matter paragraph. This other matter paragraph include key points regarding predecessor auditor's report. In this example, this was the date of X report on year 6 financial statements. This was the type of opinion expressed on year 6 financial statements. You will include certain key points regarding X report on year 6 financial statements in this other matter paragraph. You will highlight those things in this other matter paragraph. This is what you can do. You are making a reference to predecessor auditor's report. Right. Answer option D. Express an opinion on the current period's financial statements. Yes. And include an emphasis of matter paragraph. No. You would not include an emphasis of matter paragraph. You would include an other matter paragraph. The predecessor auditor is not reissuing the report on prior period financial statement. This is more of an audit matter. This relates to gas. This relates to audit. This relates to the auditor's report. This does not relate to the financial statements. This is not a matter that relates to accounting standards. This is not a matter that relates to financial statements. You do not include an emphasis of matter paragraph because section 700 of the auditing standards requires you to include another matter paragraph. Section 700 does not require you to include an emphasis of matter paragraph. Also, this matter relates to audit, auditor's report. It does not relate to financial statements that you include an emphasis of matter paragraph. So it makes sense to include another matter paragraph. And also auditing standards ask you to include another matter paragraph. Section 700 asks you to include another matter paragraph. And you do that. So option D is incorrect. All right. I hope this is helpful. We'll connect again. Goodbye.